Everyone, welcome to the show. So we have yet another pardoned January 6th defendant who's going to prison for other crimes that he committed. I'm telling you, all the best people. Of course, this guy is whining online. He has successfully, sadly, convinced a bunch of the dull bulbs that this is a violation of Donald Trump's pardon. You should see the outrage under his video that he posted on Twitter. People are like, how is this happening? And they're tagging Donald Trump and they're tagging Pam Bondi and all these different people and saying, oh, you need to stop this. Yeah, Donald Trump is in control right now. I mean, I'd like to remind them of that fact. He is in control of the Justice Department. His lapdog, Pam Bondi, is in control and doing everything he wants. So how are they claiming, oh, this isn't fair, this is unjust, this is, going against Donald Trump's wishes? These people, I'm telling you, there's just no brain cells there. So here's the deal. Here's what's going down. 45-year-old former Maryland resident, Elias Costianes, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Costianes, yeah. He was originally arrested and charged with numerous crimes for his involvement in the Capitol attack. Mostly misdemeanors, but there was one felony in there. And this guy was arrested all the way back in February of 2021, but he repeatedly just submitted documents and requested delays and all this kind of BS. So he dragged everything out all of these years. 4 years later, he had not even gone to trial, had not taken a plea deal. And so when Trump pardoned him, he had not spent any time in prison. His case was still not settled. It was still pending. So, like I said, up until now, no prison. However, back in February of 2021, when the FBI searched his home and they searched his car, they found a bunch of different weapons. I think they found like 4 different weapons. They found weed, cocaine, and also testosterone. And the Justice Department wrote, quote, "The electronic evidence from Costianes' phone, including photographs and text message conversations, revealed that Costianes illegally used cocaine, testosterone, and marijuana, and that his use of each substance was consistent, prolonged, and recent. Costianes further admitted that he not only purchased cocaine and testosterone for personal use, but that he also conspired to distribute and did distribute cocaine and testosterone to others." So the feds got a second search warrant from the court, and they used that to seize evidence related to the weapons and the controlled substances. So in September of 2021, he was charged in a separate case for conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute a controlled substance, and possession of firearms and ammunition by an unlawful user of any controlled substance. 2 years later, September 2023, Costianes pleaded guilty to the charge of possession of firearms and ammunition by an unlawful user of any controlled substance. So you can have a gun, you can have weapons, but you can't also be using drugs while you have them in certain areas of the country. And so maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's everywhere. I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that. Anyway, so he was sentenced, based on his plea deal, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison and 2 years of probation. So Elias receives this notice from Trump's or Costianes, receives a notice from the Justice Department telling him you need to turn yourself in because you need to start serving these 2 years. Well, on Wednesday of this week, he posted that video And he's saying, oh, here I am, I'm turning myself in. But then, of course, he goes on to claim, oh, this whole thing was illegal. It was an illegal search of my house. And, this is unjust. And here's my, he showed off his pardon. Here's my pardon from Trump. And I'm showing this to them. And they're still not doing anything to help me. Okay, it was not an illegal search. A judge has to sign off on every search warrant. There has to be sufficient evidence for that to happen, for the judge to agree. And Costianes is also claiming, oh, well, I just peacefully walked around the Capitol, and that's why I was arrested in the first place. Here is what he was accused of doing on January 6th. Again, these are just accusations because this case was never settled. So according to the arrest affidavit, Costianes entered the Capitol without legal authority to do so. Remember, the Capitol was off limits that day, primarily because of the vote count, but also because the vice president was there. So they secure the Capitol. It is considered restricted grounds when you have someone at that high level of the government who is there. You would have to go through a background check. They would have to make sure you're not carrying a weapon. He just waltzed into the Capitol after it had been violently broken into. They also recovered videos from his phone showing, or allegedly showing, that he entered the Senate gallery. And they also allegedly have Senate camera footage, which they shared pictures of it, still shots from this camera footage in the affidavit, and it showed him inside the Senate gallery. He also, at one point, turned his camera around on his phone to face himself, and he was inside the Senate gallery in those videos, according to the affidavit. The prosecutor also alleges that in one of Costianes' videos, he's heard saying, quote, "Holy shit, they broke into the Capitol." Not, we peacefully walked in and walked around the Capitol. No, they broke in. The government also claims that Costianes is heard in his own video. He's screaming at the police. He called them traitors. He told them to, quote, "open the fucking doors." This was when he was on the inside, and he was yelling at them to open the doors to let more of Donald Trump's supporters into the building. Now, it does not appear, at least they are not alleging, that he committed any acts of violence or any acts of vandalism that day, but if you know a building has been broken into, as he said in his own words, supposedly, and you proceed to enter that building, then you know you're not welcome. Again, this case didn't go to trial, never took a plea deal, so these are only allegations. But as recently as this week, in his own video, complaining about having to go to prison for these other charges, Costianes admits that he was there, and he, in his own words, said he was walking around the Capitol. So, I mean, imagine if this was someone's house, right? And you saw other people breaking into someone else's house. Would you follow them in? Or would you maybe call the police? Or would you, at the very least, run the other direction, right? And say, I don't want to be any part of this because I know it's illegal. So, in any case, the other charges had nothing to do with January 6th, and he pleaded guilty to those crimes. So for Costianes to be out whining now and trying to rewrite history is just a joke. And Trump's pardon was very clear. So here is a copy on your screen right now of the pardon that Costianes shared on Twitter. For those on the podcast, it says that the pardon, quote, applies only to convictions for offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Now, first of all, as I repeatedly mentioned, Costianes was never convicted. So technically, this pardon wouldn't even apply to him, right? It says if you were convicted. And then second, it explicitly states that it only relates, again, to, quote, events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6. Costianes' possession of and intent to distribute illicit substances didn't occur at or near the Capitol, obviously. So the fact that people keep falling for this, I mean, it's just mind-blowing. I mean, can they not read? Rhetorical question, maybe? Anyway, all right, I will let you all know if I hear any more, but yeah, another one back in prison where they all belong. All right, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.